On today's show, we take a look into the new University of North Texas Frisco campus and the opportunities it'll bring to students. We also look into one local veterinarian and how he is making his name known outside of the animal hospital. And finally, we look into one athlete whose career almost came to a sudden end over break. These stories and more on this edition of Hilltop News. What's rockin' Rock Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Hilltop News. Live from Studio 1060, I'm Veronika Volcjak.
And I'm Ashley Sallaway.
We have an amazing show in store for y'all today, but first, Ashley is going to catch you up on everything going on around the Hill. Ashley?
Thank you, Veronika. As many of you may have heard, the University of North Texas just finished building their brand new Frisco campus right off Preston Road.
That's right, Ashley. Just around the corner from our own campus, UNT Frisco's campus is officially starting classes today. Kyla Lewis has the story.
Today marks the opening of the University of North Texas at Frisco. With that comes many collegiate opportunities for students all throughout the area.
Today isn't really a celebration of just the University of North Texas. This is a celebration of partnerships, of collaboration, and the incredible things that are going to happen as we open our doors.
With the opening of UNT's newest facility comes more than just education. The specific Frisco campus was designed to be the heart of immersive projects and collaborative innovation.
As we're growing, we're looking to connect more to local, companies and the local community as a whole to do more of those partner projects, and students will be able to come out and be ready to go and working with industry right out of their programs.
The UNT campus has already partnered with companies across Frisco, such as PGA and the Dallas Cowboys, for educational projects with students, which they can work on in the collaborative spaces throughout the building.
Giving students access to those kinds of experiences is a really important thing for them, and it, I would say, is unique relative to an average college student. This is more of a, holistic experience for them, I would say.
Although these opportunities on campus benefit all students who attend, the proximity of this campus to our home will specifically help students in the DFW area advance in their career path without traveling very far.
I've also gotten to have a commute because I lived close enough to UNT, and that was great too, to have the support of my family and the support of Rock Hill and Prosper ISD all behind me, and I still had those connections that I formed in high school.
As the new UNT facility has been built from the ground up, so have many opportunities for our own students with their path after high school. For Hilltop News, I'm Kyla Lewis.
So far, UNT Frisco is starting with 17 different undergraduate degree programs available on campus. Speaking of things being built up in Frisco, last Wednesday, the town of Frisco announced another big development just past UNT Frisco. Ashley?
After featuring locations in Orlando and Hollywood, Universal Studios has announced the debut of a Universal Park right here in Collin County, which will be constructed less than 6 miles away from Rock Hill.
They actually recruited us, and they selected us. And so they were looking for the perfect fit. And when they learned more and more about Frisco, how we're a community that's focused on families, that we like to be kind of leading edge on different things, to bring these different types of attractions, having a great school district, all these different pieces and parts, it felt like a natural fit for them. And so just those first interactions, it was, a quick marriage in the making, so to speak. And they're going to be great partners.
The theme park will be located along the Dallas North Tollway and Panther Creek Parkway and is set to consist of 100 acres of thrills and enjoyment. Now moving to a larger level, the 88th Texas legislature is in session. The headlines from Austin include debate on how the state will spend a $32 billion budget surplus. Governor Greg Abbott's election agenda was pushing for property tax cuts, border security, and a parental bill of rights regards to the students' education. On campus, Prosper ISD is paying close attention to legislator updates through public education advocacy groups. The United States House of Representatives will also be returning to session. They will begin working on establishing the rules of the 118th session of Congress. This is making headlines after it took a historical 15 rounds of voting to decide the next Speaker of the House. Republican Kevin McCarthy was the leading candidate, but the vote was drawn out over 17 rounds due to infighting within the chamber. Several Texas representatives played a role in the final decision, which resulted in McCarthy winning a majority of 216 to 214 votes. He officially accepted his position on the 7th, allowing the House to resume to normal operations. After recent tragic events, the district and community are grieving after 9-year-old Hughes Elementary student was killed by their father. The child was found stabbed along with the father, who attempted to take his own life when he was stopped by police and sent to the hospital. He's being charged with capital murder with a bond set at $1 million. To honor the Hughes child, the Hughes Elementary School held a candlelight vigil last Monday. Over 200 people were in attendance to remember the child. The PTO plans to do more to keep the child in remembrance, but is waiting to reach out to the family, offering them and the community time to grieve. The district wants all students and staff to have the resources available to help our community heal from this tragedy. Some resources can be found on the Prosper ISD counseling page, and you can reach out to your counselors to meet with them in person.
Now we have a lot going on around campus this week, so here's a quick preview of what's going on around the Hill.
Now this past week, some big news came out for choir. For the first time in school history, 2 singers were selected for All-State Choir.
That's right, Ashley, but I think you failed to mention that of those 2, you are one of them alongside Alex Calamares. So congratulations to both you and Alex for making history this past week, since you are 2 of only 3 students from our district to have ever achieved this level of excellence.
First of all, this is our first 2 students at Rock Hill that have ever made the All-State Choir, and not just that, they are our first 2 in the district, along with a student at Prosper High School that have been selected. So it's been competitive for so many years. It shows that our music program, our fine arts programs, and especially our choir programs are being something that is we're able to put our students up against the best in other districts in the area and be competitive and succeed. But also, I think what it really means is that we'll just only get better. We'll get more students in, and it'll become an expectation of something that is a Rock Hill High School thing and a Prosper ISD thing.
Both students have demonstrated exceptional talent and dedication to their craft. We are extremely proud of their accomplishments and wish them all the best as they represent our district on the state level.
Last week, the news was released that PISD student Zoe Merchant will be joining the 8th season of Fear of the Walking Dead, which will premiere on May 14th. Zoe is a student at Hayes Middle School and is involved in their theater department.
Social media has become a common way for businesses to grow across platforms. One veterinarian was able to start his own business after going viral on social media and is now known as the TikTok vet throughout DFW. Bronwyn Leiber has the story.
With just the simple click of a button, followed by short 15 to 45-second videos, Dr. Hunter Finn has been able to make his name not only in the business and veterinary industry, but also on social media.
Yeah, so I couldn't do anything without social media. Social media has opened the doors for me to be able to open this place, and I'm so grateful for it. I never expected when I made my first TikTok back in 2020 that I would be doing this just 2 years later, so it's really incredible.
From that one day in 2020 and on, Dr. Finn has become a social media icon, with over 2.5 million followers combined between all social medias. A following that has led to building his newly founded business called Pet Method Animal Hospital.
Yeah, so I do think that because I'm so open on social media, I think like people feel like they already know me before they come here. So I feel like people come from all over the Metroplex to see me, and I'm so grateful for that. Because there's not enough people actually going out and meeting clients where they are, which is on the internet and especially on social media. So I decided to stick with it, and kind of led me to where I am.
Finn's likable personality has led to many recommendations, bringing in even more new clients.
Yeah, so my wife is in a Facebook group for our neighborhood, and one of the individuals in there spoke about bringing her dog and how comforting it was for her animal. And so my wife looked it up, and I don't even know if she looked at reviews. She just saw availability and booked it because the experience that this person spoke of was so highly touted.
Not only just on Facebook groups, but all over the internet, Pet Method Animal Hospital has been able to amount great reviews with a perfect 5-star rating on many different platforms. The high praise comes from their friendly environment for both pets and owners, mainly surrounded by the foundation of having a fear-free clinic.
Yeah, so Fear Free is a creative movement, and again, the whole idea is just to reduce as much fear, anxiety, and stress as possible in animals, and also with the owners too, because animals feed off of their owners. So With our hospital, we wanted to create a whole different experience from the moment that you walk in. And we have calming pheromones throughout our entire hospital. So for dogs, that's a pheromone called Adaptil, and for cats, it's a pheromone called Sallaway. And it just kind of helps bring a sense of peace to them.
Over the last 6 months since the hospital first opened, the fear-free method has already gained a ton of attention in the DFW area. So much so that Dr. Finn has already started looking into expanding to more locations with a goal of 10 to 20 new locations in the next decade. For Hilltop News, I'm Bronwyn Leiber.
His social medias are under Dr. Hunter Finn if you would like to see more of his content, as well as check out their website at Pet Method DFW for more information about the hospital and Dr. Finn himself. Now, while most of the school was enjoying their break, many of our sports teams were in action. Connor Fuxa is in studio to fill you in on how they did, as well as everything else Rock Hill sports. Connor?
Thank you, Veronika. Now, before we get into Rock Hill sports, I feel like we have to start off with the traumatic event that happened over break in the NFL. Buffalo Bills cornerback Damar Hamlin, in the middle of the first quarter in their game versus the Cincinnati Bengals, suddenly collapsed. It was later announced that he suffered cardiac arrest on the field. That game was later canceled. However, a situation to many that looked to be fatal for Hamlin turned around quickly. Only 9 days after suffering the injury, Hamlin was released from the hospital this past Wednesday and is back recovering in his own home. While amazing news, it does still bring up the scary fact that sports may not be forever. Now, recently, not just in the NFL, but all around sports, there has been a surge in cardiac and internal injuries athletes have been suffering. Brandon McVeigh looks into one athlete that has recently had to deal with a similar scary cardiac injury here at the Hill.
Last thing Brian BJ Hooper remembers was running down the court before his vision went to black. During a tournament over winter break in Miami, Hooper suddenly had a seizure on the court.
It was a free throw, and I ran back on the other side of the court, and I put my hands on my knees like this, and when I stood up, I got lightheaded, real lightheaded, and then after that, I blacked out type.
Hooper was immediately stretchered off the court and taken to a hospital in Miami. But even with this scary injury, the game went on and players had to quickly recover mentally to try and finish out the game.
Finishing that game was kind of rough, but I think one thing we did great was everybody kind of got in a huddle after he got walked out of the court, and everybody was kind of put in their brain like this game, the rest of this game's for BJ, the rest of this tournament's for BJ, stuff like that. I think every time we came out of the huddle in the sideline, everybody was like for BJ on three, stuff like that. Just making sure that the game was played for him, keeping that on our brains kind of helped us out.
Hooper could not get an MRI until he was back in Texas. For nearly a week, him and his team were in the dark about his condition. Thoughts of a potential career-ending injury were throughout the locker room, with everyone unaware of what the future held.
It's crazy to think about because it just happened so suddenly, but you just don't think of things like this, and you just pray it don't happen. But if it do, just hope you can get the best out of it and just take it as far as I can till the ends, till the basketball stop dribbling.
I think mental-wise, seeing that stuff happening is kind of awakening. You never know when your last snap or your last minute is in sports. So I think seeing stuff like that happening and then having him come back so soon is a sense of relief. But knowing that stuff like that happening isn't always he coming back.
Serious injuries have become a commonality these days. Players wondering if every game could be their last. Luckily for BJ, he has been able to pick the basketball back up and keep dribbling, as he came back this past Friday and plans to lead them to the road to playoffs. For Hilltop News, I'm Brandon McVeigh.
BJ already made an impact in his return this past Friday, scoring 13 points in a win over Denton-Braswell, 47-44. With those 13 points, he now sits at 920 career high school points. So barring any setbacks, he should be able to reach the 1,000-point mark within this next month. Now, as for the entire boys basketball team, they had a very busy winter break, playing in 6 games. They had a pretty back-and-forth start to break, going 2-2, but they caught fire right towards the end, finishing off on a 2-game win streak. Now, since returning to school, they have already had 3 games as well, with wins over Little Elm and Denton-Braswell, and a tough 48-47 loss to McKinney-Boyd, despite Chase Nelson having a great performance, dropping 21 points. Overall, now our boys currently sit at 3-2 and 3rd in the district. They look to return to action tonight when they take on the current 1 seed Allen away. Now, while boys basketball has been busy this past month, so has girls basketball. They played in 8 games over break. Our girls started out slow, dropping the first 2 games, but immediately rebounded, winning 3 straight. Unfortunately, that win streak came to an end in the 6th game in a heartbreaking loss, 36-35, to Plano West. But once again, our girls team showed adversity, bouncing back and winning the final 2 games of break. Coming out of break, they were not as lucky though, going 1-2 after having to face 2 tough teams in Little Elm and Denton Braswell in that span. They did pull off a great win versus McKinney Boyd 38-37 off a game-winning shot from Jackie Powell with 5 seconds remaining. They will return to action as well tonight away at Allen as they begin the second half of districts. Now moving on to soccer, their season started up towards the end of December. For the girls, they could not have started the season better, going 4-0 over the break. Coming out of the break, they kept that momentum going at home in the Rock Hill Invitational Tournament. In 4 games of tournament play, our Blue Hawks went 2-1-1, moving their record up to 6-1-1 on the season. They are currently ranked top 25 in the state for 6A and are looking to carry their momentum into another deep playoff run. Now, wrestling has also been in high gear this past month, competing in multiple different tournaments, the most recent of them being the Trojan Classic that they competed in this past Saturday. Boys wrestling saw 6 top 6 finishers with 2 medalers and Maddie Givens taking home second and Noah James placing third. Now finally, this last weekend, the Blue Hawk esports team competed at the Rise of Ragnarok tournament. The Valorant team put on a show to take first place overall, and the Rocket League team came home with a 3rd place finish.
Yeah, so we played at the Holland Esports League over this weekend. We had 4 or 5 teams play in it. For Rocket League, we placed top 3. Getting top 3 makes us more noticeable. We get more invitationals to other leagues that we can play in. Yeah.
Well, that's all we have for today's show. For Hilltop News, I'm Connor Fuxa.
I'm Ashley Sallaway.
And I'm Veronika Volcjak. Keep rocking, Blue Hawks.